Thank you.
I welcome the fact we're debating this. Can I begin by acknowledging Minister Fitzgerald's work in this area and fulfilling the programme for government and realising the commitment to have the children's rights referendum. It's very, very significant, Minister. I want to commend you for that, and I don't say that lightly. I think it behoves us to acknowledge these occasions when they present themselves. Can I first just refer to the McKenna judgment in relation to referenda? I accept, the ruling of the court in this particular area, and I accept the need to be balanced. And it was never fair that government would fund one side of a campaign. We know that. However, in instances like this, there is going to be very skewed, implications from a judgment like that. Because effectively you're telling the national broadcaster and commercial stations to give half of their broadcast time to people, persons, groups, organisations who are on the opposing side of this referendum. Now, I'm not taking from anyone's democratic right to oppose it, but I think it's a bit ridiculous that someone, for the purposes of accessing broadcast time, can deliberately oppose the referendum. Because this referendum is about children's rights. It's about nothing else. Now, I had occasion last week to write a letter to the editor of the Southern Star, because a letter writer the previous week had said, look, in effect, this is about the state controlling your family. And of course, people who go on that kind of hysterical lunacy, these fundamentalists, will go on and argue that the state wants to take your children and force them back, all that kind of old rubbish and hyperbole. And I think the McKenna judgment is responsible in many instances for allowing that type of lunacy to prevail. So can I ask that in the context of referenda, that judgment would be looked at, and that government would seek to address the very clear negative implications for that, which detracts from a very, very good debate. Can I say I think this debate is entirely compatible with the debate we've had in the last couple of nights in this chamber in relation to the Magdalene laundries, and in particular the role of religious orders. And I believe the silence from the hierarchy of the Catholic Church is absolutely deafening. This is an opportunity for them to redeem themselves in terms of protection of children and children's rights. And there's been a deafening silence. And I find that quite worrying. And if you go back to that era of the Magdalene laundries, go back to those idioms, those sayings that Deputy O'Friel pointed out. I mean, children should be seen and not heard. Spare the rod and spoil the child, which effectively was a voucher to go off and flake children. It was an appalling, and this country has a shameful record of how it has treated children down through the years. And there's a catalogue of reports. There's the Murphy report, the Klein report, the Kilkenny incest case, the Roscommon case, of appalling and shameful neglect. And this, whilst it won't eliminate it, unfortunately, it will go a significant journey in enshrining children's rights in the Constitution. Two former Labour Party senators in Shanadair, back in the 1970s, former President Mary Robinson, current President Michael D. Higgins, spoke and moved private members' legislation in relation to the status of illegitimacy. And in the context of that debate, there were members of that House on that occasion who put the interests of children beneath the interests of property owners. They had more respect and they had more cause to think about the rights of property owners as opposed to the rights of children. It is absolutely shameful and appalling. But I'm glad that we are here. We are in the here and now, and we can see, I believe, and I hope there will be a robust debate in relation to this very, very significant referendum. But we should never forget the historical context that has allowed us to reach the point that we are currently at. This is not about the state micromanaging families. This is not about enforced vaccination. This is not about the state going to your house and removing your children. This is about giving the rights to children and enshrining those in the Constitution.
And it's remaining.
Thank you, It's about recognising that children can and will suffer in families, and it's about intervening in those exceptional circumstances when those unfortunate situations will arise. The groups and organisations that support this referendum are worth mentioning. UNICEF Ireland, the ISPCC, the Children's Rights Alliance, Bernardo's, the Irish Foster Care Association, the Children's Ombudsman, Emily O'Reilly, Amnesty International Ireland, and the Dublin Race Crisis Centre. But I think significantly, retired Supreme Court Justice Catherine McGuinness, who is an expert in this area, who's a former member of Shanadair, who's an expert in this area. And again, there are people who for some strange reason, seem to have no respect for Supreme Court judgments, who seem to have no level of understanding of the status of the former Supreme Court Justice, who they themselves think are above these people. But it's absolutely significant that we acknowledge the role that the retired Supreme Court Justice will play in the context of the debate. And far be it for us to second-guess someone of that stature in terms of how they assign judgments to various issues. In conclusion, Les Concurl, I welcome the fact that we're having this debate. I look forward to a robust exchange. I do hope the issues of the McKenna judgment can be addressed in the context of wider referenda, whilst maintaining the integrity of people's democratic right to participate in debate. Thank you.